So I was browsing TikTok, and of course I followed the Fear Ann podcast. I also really love Cutie Cinderella. When I first started on Twitch, she was one of the very first people that I followed. She's just a cutie patootie. Literally cutie. She seriously is a cutie patootie, just a very sweet, cute human being. And she said this.
Go to Pilates twice a week. I've been riding on my soul cycle. I've been trying to lose weight. I've lost none. So I'm going to start Ozempic soon because I'm giving up.
Okay, fair. That's awesome.
Plus, I have Ozempic stocks. So
I think
it's
it
a
would
win-win.
literally. I think it
Paying
would be
myself.
medical malpractice to give you Ozempic.
Why? This is what I eat every day, and that's it.
No.
I know. I'm trying to have an eating disorder. It's not working.
Kidding.
Well-
I had this fucking awful impulse to make eating disorder jokes. And
No,
I,
you can't. I have the past.
no,
Don't worry.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
If I went to rehab for it, I can make the jokes about it. I paid for those jokes.
So that was what I saw. And I was like, this sentiment that she's expressing is a very common sentiment for a lot of people who have like her body type, right? Or her body fat percentage. And they're doing the things, and that can be super, super frustrating. I'm going to cardio. I'm going to Pilates class. I'm eating a calorie deficit. I'm only eating salad and fruit, right? And you can still get stuck where you feel like, oh, I'm not losing any weight. My body fat percentage isn't going down. Usually, if that's the case, and this is what I hear from a lot of women that I talk to, if that's the case, there's a couple of things that I would look at. One is, are you doing any resistance training? What does that Pilates training look like? Because what you need to do is challenge your muscles. If you want to get that toned look, you need to build muscle, and muscle doesn't get built unless you are doing like resistance training to the point where you're pushing your muscles to the point of fatigue and getting really close to muscle failure. And over time, you're progressively adding more and more and more. And that's where a lot of times Pilates tends to kind of fail people, right? It's good as a starter. I love it as a starter for people who want to start to exercise and who want to get in shape, because the first things that you want to do when you start to like exercise is you want to build core strength, you want to build balance, you want to build mind-muscle connection, which Pilates is really, really good at doing for people. Pilates is really, really good for helping you to connect with your core, learn how to fire up your deep core muscles, which is a skill that you will need later in other types of exercise. There's a lot of pseudoscience, though, that tends to be associated with Pilates. One of the things that you'll hear a lot of Pilates teachers say is that their style of training makes you stronger but not bulkier. It makes the muscles longer and leaner but not bulky. And that is a myth. That's a lie. That's not what happens. The only way to make your muscles longer would be to actually elongate your skeleton. So if you hear a yoga teacher or a Pilates teacher say, oh, this style of training is going to like help you build muscle, but it's not going to be bulky. It's going to make your muscles longer. They are talking out of their ass. They don't know what they're talking about. It also kind of feeds into this phobia of weight training that a lot of women have. A lot of women are scared to lift weights, to do push-ups, because they have been taught by their Pilates teachers or by their yoga teachers that that type of training is for people who want to get big and bulky. And Pilates and yoga is for women who want to stay lean and long, and they want to look like ballerinas, right? That's a myth. That's not how it works. And if you really do want to change your body and you want to achieve that toned look that you're after, you are eventually going to have to change over to weights. You're eventually going to have to add weight training into your weekly routine. Keep doing yoga, keep doing Pilates, keep doing SoulCycle. All of those are amazing for helping you to burn calories, keep your heart healthy, but you are going to reach a plateau if that's your only kind of exercise. Resistance training is the best style of exercise for helping you to keep your body from hitting a plateau where it's not changing anymore, because if you're doing it right, you're progressively adding on more resistance over time, more exercises, more difficult exercises, more weight, more repetitions, more sets, right? That's how you do weight training. And that's why a lot of girlies are, like myself, like big gym rats now. I love lifting weights because it's a very efficient way for me to keep my body toned. I don't do a lot of cardio. I hardly ever do high intensity training, high intensity interval training. I basically just lift heavy ass shit. And I watch what I eat. I make sure that I eat enough protein and carbohydrates. And then, when I feel like I'm starting to look a little like my body fat percentage is getting a little bit higher, then I dial it in a little bit on my calorie intake. But I'm always progressively overloading my muscles with resistance training to help my body to build muscle. And that is how I'm able to maintain my physique. And I don't eat just salad and fruit. I eat all kinds of stuff. Because here's the thing, when you build muscle and you're doing it effectively, you actually your body needs more calories. You need to eat more. So I can eat a high number of calories for someone of my size and still lose weight. And that's the other part of why adding resistance training can be really, really good. If you are, if you're not happy with your physique and you want to, lose more weight or lose more body fat, I would say looking at Cutie's physique from other clips, I think that she's probably in a state right now where if she were to start burning fat, it may be because she is where she is. She may not actually see the scale move much because, her body size at the moment, as she builds muscle and burns fat at the same time, the scale might not move. So I would also say in her case, the best way to measure her progress, if she is also doing resistance training, eating enough calories to lose weight, which we'll get to in a second, eating the right amount, and doing all the other types of exercise that she likes and enjoys. If she's doing all of those things, but she's still not seeing the scale moving, then in that case, I would recommend that she use a tape measure and measure her belly, and measure her hips, right? And use that as a measurement of progress moving forward. I did say eating enough to lose weight, right? Because there is such a thing as eating too little and actually making your body not burn more calories. So you can eat too low. Like a lot of people think, oh, I just need to eat less. If I want to burn fat, I need to eat less. And if my body stops burning fat, I need to eat even lesser, right? But there's a finite limit there on how low you can go before your body just kind of slows everything down and makes it so that it's not burning very many calories. And in that case, it's going to be extremely hard to burn fat. So I would also, if I were her personal trainer, I would have her track what she eats for a week. And we also would look at the scale and her measurements. And I would see how many calories she's eating. And if that's true, like what she said in the clip, that all she eats is a salad and a cup of fruit a day, then my first change that I would make to her diet would be to get her eating more, progressively more on a week-by-week basis, adding between 50 and 100 calories at a time, and get her eating more to the point where she's eating a number of calories that someone of her height and weight should be eating just to maintain their body fat percentage, to maintain their weight. Once we reach that point, then I would cut her calories. Because I would wager if that's all she's eating, she's not eating enough to lose weight. And here's what happens with a lot of my clients when I do this with them. A lot of times when I have clients who are eating way, 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 way too low and they want to burn fat, as soon as I start adding 50 to 100 calories to their daily calorie intake and gradually start bringing it up, so they start eating more, then their weight loss starts happening because they're doing the same thing. Like they're by increasing the calorie intake, their body begins to burn more calories. So it revs the whole system up. So that's what she didn't ask for recommendations, but I being a personal trainer, and being very passionate about this and solving this problem with tons of people every year, I just wanted to pop on because she's a Twitch streamer that I admire, and I adore her, and I feel her struggle because I think it's something that especially a lot of women struggle with. And I think she mentioned that she actually had gone to rehab for an eating disorder. So that would be another argument, I would say, for working with a professional, working with a personal trainer and a nutritionist to manage this. Because even with the past of having an eating disorder, you can still do all of this. You can still build muscle and burn fat, and you can still manage what you eat in a healthy way. But it is best to do it with the guidance of a professional. And the cool thing is that, especially when it comes to the nutritionist side of things, A lot of times nutritionists can be paid for through your insurance. A lot of people's insurance covers a certain number of sessions with a nutritionist or a dietitian per year. So if you have a similar body type and you have a similar concern, if you saw that clip on TikTok or if you saw it just now and you're like, hey, that's me, I also feel that way, those are my recommendations as a professional personal trainer who works with people in that situation. I wish that I actually knew her personally, because I would be like, girl, you're coming to the gym with me. Let's work on this. But yeah, her maintenance might be lower than other people of similar size because she's recovering from an eating disorder. Exactly. And that's another reason why I think probably, and this is all hypothetical, of course, I'm not her personal trainer, I don't know her history, but hypothetically, I would say probably she would need to go through a reverse dieting process while also trying to build muscle. That's usually the protocol that I would use in my office where I work for working with someone who has a similar history and has similar goals. But you know, the last thing that you want to do is just like try to resort to extremes to, you know, achieve that body fat percentage that you're after by just exercising more and eating less, because eventually there's going to reach a point where you're going to be just super, super unhealthy. You need to eat enough to keep your body functioning. And sometimes working out more is not the answer, and eating less is not always the answer. A lot of times, for the people who come to see me, the answer is actually you need to be building muscle, and you need to be eating more. You need to be eating enough protein and enough calories. So let's figure out how many calories your body actually needs and give you that. And then let's also add some resistance training. You don't have to do like 5-7 times a week of resistance training. You literally could just do resistance training 1 day a week and make gains. As a general, just a regular old person, you know, you could start making gains towards your goals just by doing once a week, little total body training, 30 to 45 minutes, right? You'll make more gains, you'll make faster gains if you do more times a week. But as someone who's already doing Pilates, you probably could do 3 to 4 times a week of resistance training. I actually have clients who do Pilates, and I recommend that they do their Pilates, they keep doing their Pilates like twice a week, and then they see me 2 or 3 other times a week to work on other things. You know, to work on the weights, to do their conditioning training, because I love it's great for mobility training. Pilates is great for mobility training. It's also great for core stability. One of the other things that might have been happening is that she's cycling between a few days of low calories and high calories, so the week ends up in oh, dude, that's such a good point. That's such a good point, Punder. Yes. What often happens and that's also within the realm of an eating disorder. So one thing that might be happening, is that if she is only eating a salad and then a cup of fruit on most days, maybe throughout the week, eventually her body is going to be like, rah, and rebel, right? And then maybe like a couple days a week, she eats everything in sight. So by the end of the week, if she looks at her total calorie intake, she may be eating a calorie surplus, or she may be eating exactly maintenance for her body, and which is why she's not burning fat. So like over the course of the week, on average, that might be why she's not burning fat. So that's also a really good possibility as well. And that's something that's a very common mistake that people make. You know, that's that yo-yo sort of like binge restrict cycle. It's a disordered relationship with food. It's a disordered approach towards food. It's like, I'm going to starve myself for, you know, as long as I can. And then eventually your body is going to rebel and override all of your, you know, what you mean to do. And you're going to just eat everything in sight, right? And then you're going to be a lot of times people end up feeling really ashamed afterwards, and then they starve themselves again, and it's just this horrible cycle, right? And you think, I'm suffering, I should look better than this, right? Like that's what they're thinking. I think you look beautiful, no matter what your body fat percentage is. But you know, that's why you're probably not seeing the body fat percentage going down. And also, you're probably losing muscle, which is also going to slow down your metabolism, which is also going to make you not have that firm, toned appearance. Because when you are in an extreme deficit, your body breaks down muscle and fat, right? And breaks down a lot of tissue. And your body is not going to be like recovering your tissue and repairing tissue as effectively as it would if you were eating maintenance or a surplus. So yeah, those were my thoughts, and I wanted to share them with you because I thought about you guys, and I wanted to share that.